Hello, lovely people. Welcome to episode 28 of the Rugged Angel podcast. I am your host, Camila. As always, what is happening this week? Pittsburgh 48 Hour Horror Film Project is gearing up again. This is the second year for it here in Pittsburgh. If you're not familiar with the 48 Hour Film Project, we take filmmakers and then we challenge them to make a film in 48 hours. It's a short film from 4 to 7 minutes long, and we give them a line of dialogue, a genre, a prop, and a character that needs to be in that film. And what we're doing this week is specifically horror. So it'll be horror genres like mad scientist or psychological or natural disasters or vampires, etc., etc. And the kickoff happens this Friday on the 16th at Boom Concepts in Garfield in Pittsburgh area. So we were only taking 24 teams this year. We still have 4 slots available if you want to get involved and make a horror film for the Halloweens. You can go to 48hourfilm.com/Pittsburgh, or you can go to the Pittsburgh 48 Hour Film Project Facebook page to find out more information about picking up one of those last slots that are available. All the films will be shown at the Hollywood Theater on October 25th. There will be just a ginormous screening of all the films, one ticket price for 2 different screening groups of at least 20 films. So get in on that. And you can also go to ruggedangel.com and find out all sorts of stuff about any other things that I am going through, not going through, but other things that I'm doing that's coming up. I also just want to kind of give a shout out to Lisa Fisher. Like, she is an amazing songstress, and I had the opportunity to record her, to do some video for her concert that happened at MCG Jazz last weekend, and got to talk to her and meet her. If you've seen 20 Feet from Stardom, the documentary about all the talented background singers and vocalists, then you know who she is. Or maybe you know her from her 1991 hit "How Do I Ease the Pain," or maybe you just know her as the kick-ass powerhouse vocalist that travels around, that tours with Rolling Stones, among like a bajillion other tracks that I'm sure you've heard her on. But regardless, I just want to give a shout out to Lisa Fisher for being such a fantastic and phenomenal woman. She was like the sweetest thing. Her show was amazing. I got my life, and if you get a chance to see Lisa Fisher and Grand Baton coming anywhere near you, I highly suggest you go check them out. Also, be on the lookout for her. She will be recording a new CD soon, and I'm assuming with Grand Baton as well. Those guys rock. The whole show was funk, it was jazz, it was spiritual, it was folky. It was just an amazing, entertaining event that I highly suggest you guys go to check it out if you get a chance to. So this week's episode is with Laura Pliskin. She is the other half of On the Nose Events. If you remember in episode 23 of the Rugged Angel podcast, I talked to Nicole White. So this is like part 2 or a crossover or something of that nature. I don't know if that really works that way. Continuance, maybe? I'm not sure. But regardless, I talked to Laura, who is the other half of that. And also we talk about Steel City Mod versus Rockers in some more depth. And, Laura she's an artsy girl living in a spreadsheet world. And she is an arts department coordinator here for a lot of the films that come through Pittsburgh. And she doesn't think she has a very glamorous job, but I find it very interesting. And you more than likely will too, because she's got a lot of great stories. She's the only daughter of immigrant parents. She used to be a goth kid, and she is a kind of a video game voyeur, or a backseat gamer. There's a lot of interesting stories that we talk about here, Laura and I. And I just think that you will enjoy this because it was very entertaining to me. I learned something about video game technology, and she's just a delight. She's a fun lady. She's a tiny thing, but she's a powerhouse. And also, she's so tired. She works so many hours, and she's just so very tired. So please click on sit back and relax and get ready for this episode. And please ignore me. I might be sounding a little loopy, but I am under the weather today, and it's taking me a couple days to get this out, and I might be hallucinating on some sort of cold medication or something. I'm not sure. But your words of wisdom this week: the cost of not following your heart is spending the rest of your life wishing you had. How about that? Think about that. Chew on that for a little while. In the meantime, let's go into the show. Welcome to the Rugged Angel Podcast, Laura Pliskin.
Thank you very much.
I am very happy to meet you and to, I don't know, I guess be your first podcast.
Yes. I'm very excited and also very nervous.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Okay.
You'll be great.
Okay.
How was your day going today so far?
Well, I'm wrapping up the project that I'm working on.
Uh-huh.
So it's simultaneously very busy and very quiet.
Is this a personal project or is
No.
it?
Do you know what I do?
I believe you are a set designer.
Oh, I wish I was a set designer. No, I'm an arts department coordinator, which means I manage the business end of the arts department.
Oh, okay.
Films and television shows. Yeah. So, like, spreadsheets, budget, scheduling, that type of thing. I do have a background in art, which I think got my foot in the door.
Gotcha.
So if I need to do, like, graphics or something, I can. Though I really shouldn't, because it's not my job. But anyway.
But so you're on the business end, you're doing the spreadsheets and whatnot, and but you would much rather be doing a little more artistic.
Well, sure. I mean, why not? I learned, I don't know, a few years ago, not unrecently, if that's a term.
Okay. It is today.
That I love art. I went to school for art. I have 2 degrees in art. But I'm not as good at it as I wish I was.
I get that.
And I'm very good at management, budgets, spreadsheets.
Yes.
Not the most glamorous, but I'm really good at it. So I'm like, all right.
Well, if you're good at it and you're happy with it, then...
I feel like I found a good medium where I'm doing that in an art department.
Right, exactly. You're still in the mix.
Yeah.
You're still surrounded by art and artistic folk. And
I feel like people, like set designers, ask my opinion and are, like, sincerely interested in it because they trust my artistic opinion.
Okay.
So... that's something.
So how long have you been doing that?
7 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's all been here in Pittsburgh?
Yes. I worked once out of town in New York, where I'm originally from. I'm originally from New York. And that was both a great experience and a very lonely experience.
Why so?
Well, it's so weird because they offered me this job in New York, and I was like, yeah. Of course, I'm from New York.
Right.
I can crash with my parents. My mom will cook me dinner. And then I can hang out with all my friends.
Right.
And it'll be great. And then you get there, and then you're 28 years old. I was 28 at the time. And you're moving back in with your parents. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think this through.
How long were you there?
2.5 months. And it felt like 2.5 years.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Where, this is the epitome of what happens. Like, I moved in that Saturday before I started work on the Monday. Sunday night, my mom goes, what time are you waking up? And I'm like, I don't know, like 6 o'clock. Okay, what time do you need me to wake you up? And I'm like, no, I'm an adult.
I'm kind of grown.
I have an alarm clock.
I've been doing this for a while now.
But the thing that I was just like, okay, no, and I had to leave the room was my mom was like, what time are you getting up to shower? And I'm like, nope. You have like 4 bathrooms in this house. This is not even like a scheduling issue.
Right. It's just...
like, this is just you thinking I can't
Yeah.
schedule. And then there was the next weekend, my friend was DJing in Brooklyn, and I was going out, and my mom was watching TV in bed, and like I knocked on the door, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I'm going out to meet some friends," and she's like, "Now?
At this hour?"
And I was like, "Yes." She was like, "When will you be back?" And I went, "I don't know." And I closed the door and I left. And I was like, no, I am way too old for this.
Yeah, that's got to be so frustrating. And especially, I mean, they just don't turn it off, I guess. It just...
I mean, I guess I understand. I understand that. I am my parents' only daughter.
Oh.
And I moved out when I was 18. I moved here to Pittsburgh when I was 18.
Oh, you were immediately out the gate. It was like...
Gone. So I can kind of understand. I see them only like once a year. Twice if I'm lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So probably... in their mind, I'm still 18.
Right.
I'm still like that girl that they just saw walk out the door.
Yeah.
And it only started to get better once I got married last year at 32. My mom was like, "Oh, well, she's married now. Now she's his problem."
Yeah. I've kind of gotten that too. I'm like one of 2 children, and my mom she's a single mom, so she's always kind of been protective, overprotective of us, and like to this day, like I'll tell her like I'll just on the phone, like she lives in Atlanta, and it's like I'm going out, like 10 o'clock, blah blah blah. It's kind of late. Is Dan, my husband, is he going with you, or is he driving? Are you driving by yourself, or or when Dan's out of town, she calls and she's like, is everything locked up, or you good? So sometimes it's like I just can't. Is Dan going to be with you, or how far is it? I mean, it's like so yeah. I totally
and it's funny
understand.
because like Pittsburgh, I feel like maybe you do too. It's so safe. Well, safer comparatively.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you're coming from New York.
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh's like Mayberry compared to New York, I'm assuming.
I went to University of Pittsburgh for my undergrad, and there were so many classmates there that were like, "Oh, I'm living in a big city," and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm in a small town."
That's how I felt when I'm from Toledo, Ohio, and it's smallish. And I moved here, it's like, oh my God, there's so much to do. And yeah, so I totally understand being overwhelmed and excited by Pittsburgh. It's such a big city.
Man, I mean, hey, I've lived here now 15 years, so I obviously like it.
Yeah,
best.
you've taken to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird how a lot of us kind of end up being here, because I wasn't planning on being here this long. I moved here in 98 and I wasn't planning on sticking around. It's like, oh, I finally like found my place. I found my footing, and it's like, all right, I'm good. So you're originally from New York.
Yes.
And you're an only child.
No, I have an older brother.
Oh, okay. So you're their only daughter. Right?
Yes.
Okay, and you're the youngest. You're the baby.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's why they're so protective.
Well, my parents also, like, they're both Russian immigrants.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they grew up in a really tough time and place. Oh, and they're Jewish. Like, we're all Jewish. So they were Russian
Jewish.
Jews. All right. Yeah, and I think just they have both been discriminated against so much for so, like, a large part of their lives. Like,
Right.
probably not until they moved to America.
Right.
And then maybe even then still, like, New York in the 80s.
Well, like,
I
how
don't
old
know.
were they when they moved here?
Let's see.
Or what year? Do you
They
know?
moved in 76.
Okay.
So my mom... No, let me do my dad first. My dad was born in 41. So 35. So my mom was 27.
And they were already married and moved here together?
No.
Oh, they met.
Oh, let me tell you this story.
To New York. It's okay.
Let me tell you this
Please
story.
do.
Because I love it. My dad is from Russia. He's from St. Petersburg.
Okay.
My mom is actually from Ukraine. She's from this small farm town called Nesterov. But then she moved to the Pittsburgh of Ukraine, as I like to call it, Lvov. And then they both decided, separately obviously, that they wanted to move away. My dad applied for a visa to the United States, my mother to Canada.
Oh.
So back in the 70s in communist Russia, they were like, well, if you don't want to be a Russian citizen, you need to leave right now.
Oh, wow.
So they couldn't wait for their visas at home.
Oh, my God.
So they moved to Italy, in Rome. and they were in this like little Russian community that was literally just Russian people
just waiting
for visas to other places. And my mom was like in this like, oh, I'm gonna tell the story wrong. She's gonna listen to this and she's gonna be mad. Like 2-bedroom apartment, and there were like 8 people per bedroom. Ooh. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Man. But there was this. They were there for I think a total of 4 months. 3 months in, my mom's roommate throws a party, and my dad came, and that's where they met. And I don't even think they talk that much, but my dad went to someone and he's like, who's that woman with the long hair? She had long red hair. And he was like into the hair. The next morning, he shows up at like 7 a.m. knocking on the door. Everyone's still asleep. And he's there to be like, hi, I'm here to court.
Oh my goodness.
Sonia. Yeah. And my mom was like, what? So they dated for a month. And they decided, we're going to get married. Yes.
I feel like this was the 70s?
76.
Does this I guess a lot of these like older, like the parent stories, like the meeting stories and the courtship stories, it always seemed like be very instantaneous. Like,
I don't know. I don't know what prompted them to, yes, I do. It's my dad was going to the States. My mom was going to Canada. Right. And they were like, we want to make this work. So very quickly, my mom changed her visa to the United States.
Wow.
Like that. Oh like she had a month. But she did it because my mom, oh my God, whatever she wants, she's going to get it. She is one of those, she is a tough broad. And people call me tough all the time. Like at work, they're like, oh my God, don't cross Laura. But I am nothing compared to my mom. I get everything from her. And like, there was when I was buying a new car, I called her and I'm like, Mom, can you call the car dealership and get a better deal for me? And she did. She
Amazing.
did. She's the best. But
I love it.
Yeah, whatever she wants, she gets. But so they changed their visa. My mom changed her visa, and my dad had a job lined up in Arkansas. So, I think it was. I don't remember which parent came over first. It must have been my dad. He went over first, and then a month later, my mom came over. Mm-hmm. And then they got married in Arkansas, in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Wow. Surrounded by people they did not know.
Oh my goodness.
They were like, they were the only Russian/Jewish/foreign people. Like it was all just white Christian people. Right. My mom said that people would come and knock on the door just to like see the Russians.
Oh my God.
So to me, it isn't surprising that my mom was like, we get married. And everyone's like, yeah, let's go see this weird thing.
When did they move to New York?
Well, first they moved to Florida. They moved to Miami. Mm-hmm. I don't know what year, but I know my brother was born down there in 1979.
Gotcha.
And then they moved up to Queens. 81, maybe? 81. Okay. I was born there in 82.
Gotcha.
And then we lived in Queens until I was 4. Then we moved out to Long Island. When I was 16, we moved back to Queens. My parents are still there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you speak Russian?
I speak very little. If I speak to a non-Russian speaker, I sound awesome. I sound like Bond villain awesome. If I speak to a native speaker, they laugh at me.
Oh.
But I know enough to get by. If you threw me in Russia, I could probably find the bathroom.
And that's what matters.
It is. No, I think I could get by. If you asked me to have like a long conversation about politics, then I'm gonna have to excuse myself.
Do svidania. I don't even know what that means.
Yes, you do.
Is it
goodbye?
Goodbye. Okay, thank you. Wow, and I used it right. Okay,
you did. Impressive.
So what was it like growing up in that house, in the household? Was it a little more strict?
I don't know. Was it strict? I think my parents were very protective because they were like, everyone is going to hate you. Everyone's going to make fun of you. Don't tell people that you're Jewish. And it was like, it's New York.
Right.
Like, you know, it's
Especially
such not a big deal.
Long Island?
Long Island, actually, not too many Jews.
Oh, really?
And we actually, we moved to one of the whitest neighborhoods on Long Island. It's called West Islip. Sorry, West Islip. And it's actually nicknamed White Islip.
Nah.
So, you know, I personally don't feel like I really faced a lot of discrimination. People were like, "Oh, you're Jewish. That's cool. You're probably the only Jewish person I know."
Right.
All right, let's go watch a movie.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a big deal.
Yeah, by the time, you know, like 80s, 90s at that point, yeah.
No. Like, being discriminatory was not in vogue anymore.
Well, I would never know. I couldn't point out a Jewish person. Yeah, like, I have no idea. Like, so, I mean, even people always say, "Oh, that last name, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. Didn't know my husband was Jewish, like, for, like, months. Like, the first couple months we dated. It was like, oh. So, I mean, unless they're, like, what is it, the Hasidic Jews? Like, I couldn't point it out. So, it's never been an issue for me. It's never mattered to me. But, yeah, you know. So, what was high school like for you?
High school was really weird because I went to 2 different high schools.
Oh, yeah?
So I started high school in Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
I had to fix myself because it's technically on Long Island.
Oh.
So I started high school.
I feel like there's a lot of rules for Long Island living.
Strong Island.
Strong Island.
Strong Island. No, I started high school there, and it was very like, just exactly the same way school was for me, because I started school in general on Long Island, and it was very like academically focused. Teachers cared about you. It was small classroom sizes.
Okay.
Like, you got a lot of personal attention. There was, you know, after school tutoring, sports, football was big. It was public school. Yeah,
Huh.
West Islip Public High School. Go Lions. And I played tennis.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was on the tennis team, and
Nice.
it was great. And I played softball, and it was like, I can't say I had the best time because I was a goth kid, which I was, which I don't normally like to bring up in conversation, but I feel like
Safe space, Laura. That's
exactly.
okay.
I feel like I could talk to you.
So you graduated high school in 99?
2000.
2000, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, if I faced discrimination, it was because of that. It was because of
the
that.
black lipstick. And
Oh my God. The black velvet in the summer.
the torn fishnet
You know what though? I don't regret any of it. I did what I wanted to do. I felt good about it. Whatever. I wasn't hurting anyone.
Exactly. And it's made you into the person you are today.
There you go.
Any missteps that we have taken or any questionable fashion choices that we enveloped.
I learned how to dye hair. Like, forget it.
Manic Panic?
Manic Panic. Punky color. Wasn't that another one? Punky.
I think so. Manic Panic was the one I was obsessed with. Like the lipsticks
like the other
and
I
all
say
that stuff.
Punky color. But anyway, yes. Yes. Every color you could think of, I've dyed my hair that color. In the middle of my junior year, not even during the summer, in the middle of my junior year, my parents decided we were going to move back to Queens because my dad worked on Long Island. He's a pathologist. He worked in a lab. He worked on Long Island forever, but they were closing labs left and right. So my dad lost his job. He found a new job in Westchester County, which is like past... It's on New York State. It's on the actual state. So coming from Long Island, it was an 1.5-hour commute each way.
Oh, man.
So it was 3 hours of him in the car. And he
Gross.
hated that. So what he ended up doing is he got an apartment out there, would stay out there during the week, and then come home on the weekends. And then eventually he was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah.
So I think they were trying to wait for me to finish high school, but it just got to a point where my dad was just like, no.
Yeah.
So we moved to Queens. We moved back to Queens in the middle of my junior year.
Was that difficult?
It was so difficult. And at the time, I was like, why are you ruining my life? Everyone I know and love is here. But then I went to a New York City public high school, which sounds horrible, but it really wasn't. And like, I hated it at first because it was so not like it was a school built for 1,000 and there were 3,000 students.
Oh, Jesus.
They had trailers in the backyard that I took calculus class in a trailer. It was like, forget it. And there were no lockers, so you had to carry all your books with you.
Serious?
In the winter, you had to carry your coat,
Oh
your
my
scarf, your hat.
God.
Yeah, it was just like, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad school. It
Right.
was just
inconvenient as hell.
There were so many kids in our classroom that the teachers wouldn't even bother remembering our names.
Oh my God.
It was ridiculous. But socially, it was so much better because all of a sudden, there's non-white students.
Ah, yes.
And, oh my God, other goth kids.
You weren't the only one.
I wasn't the only one. It was just like, and even like the people who were not goth and like the opposite end of the spectrum, whatever that might be, they were like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what you do doesn't affect me.
It was just more accepting.
All. No one made fun of me. No one wrote nasty things on my locker.
Oh God. Okay, so
it was
you
like,
had to deal with that kind of crap at the other school.
I did, but you know, I don't want to make it sound like they targeted me. I mean, they did because of the way I looked, but you know, there were other students that also got it the same, if not worse.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't physically assaulted.
No, thank God.
Yeah,
but no, the second high school was.
Well, you know, kids are terrible. Like, if there's anything they can make fun of you about, they will find it. They will target it. They will use it against you for the full 4 solid years.
I just like, what is it? What is it about kids that don't have that empathy yet?
I guess that's what it is. There's no filter, you know, and there's no empathy. And I guess, you know, they're just not old enough to realize, you know, other people's views. Like, I mean, they just haven't lived enough. And so they're just like, ha, you're different.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make the rest of your days here horrible. So, but yeah, I'm sure we've all been engaged in some sort of...
I feel like people universally hate high school. And the people that didn't hate high school are probably not the nice people.
Yeah. I think those are the ones that...
Please don't send me hate mail.
I mean, it's not saying that all of the people that were that way. It's just more...
not all people. Sorry.
But generally, yes, those of us who hated it, who had difficulties in high school, we had problems with people who loved high school. You know, that kind of thing. So you moved out at 18.
Well, not like at 18. I turned 18 in March and then graduated high school. And then late August, because then I was going to Pittsburgh for college.
Okay, so you came here at
University of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah. I moved here with my high school boyfriend. Guess how that turned out?
I imagine not in his best interest. Turned out great for you.
Hey, man. I don't know what he's doing. But, yeah, no. Moved here August 26th. I remember that date. I look it up every so often just so I can celebrate.
Nice.
This year was 15 years, and I was like, yay, milestone.
So was it a difficult transition for you from New York to Pittsburgh?
I would say it was a difficult transition, not because it was Pittsburgh or New York to Pittsburgh, but because it was like I lived with my parents and now I live with my boyfriend. Like that was like
you guys were off campus.
We were off campus. Huge mistake. Anyone in high school listening, please live in a dorm. Enjoy that. Yeah, because all of a sudden I was playing house. Like I had to get a job and pay the bills while I was going to school. Like worry about insurance. And like, I'm like, why? I'm 18. I just want to go out and party.
Right.
And it was not the smart decision.
And you studied art. What? Like what was your...
Fine art.
Fine art.
Yeah.
What drew you to that? Like, have you just always been an art or artistic side?
Yeah. I was always drawing, always painting, always sketching, doing something. And then I actually like, my dad, like I said, is a pathologist. And I think they wanted me to kind of follow that path. But biology in me, like, It's gross. It's
Yes,
gross.
it is.
I don't like
It's
it.
disgusting.
Ugh.
God bless the people who can do it. I cannot.
Yeah. No. So I thought I would try and be smart, so I actually started my major in business.
No,
I
okay.
was like, all right, I'll be a business major, and then when I graduate, I'll open my own whatever,
Mhm.
and I'll be my own boss and whatever. I took one semester, and I'm like, I am miserable. This
Yeah.
is terrible. And there's a whole building over there dedicated to art.
I need to be there. That's where I want to be.
That's where I gotta go. So after one semester, even we had to take. You didn't go to Pitt, did you?
No.
You have to, every incoming freshman for their first semester has to take like an introductory, like, welcome to college class that's catered specifically to their major.
Uh-huh.
So they can think about like what to expect over the 4 years, how to get around school, what to do if you need to go to a doctor. It was very informative.
Was this a full class? Like,
It was
not-
one. It was
not-
one credit.
not, I'll say it wasn't like orientation. This was like a full on, like you
Yes.
go into class every week.
Semester
Wow.
long class. I want to say it was maybe like 2 or 3 times a week. Yeah. I can't say I was upset that we took it because like it showed me how to get around Pittsburgh. You know, I was a very scared 18-year-old goth girl. Like I needed someone to like hold my hand through this transition to adulthood. So, but the person that taught, air quotes, taught the class was also our advisor.
Okay.
So at the end of the semester, she met with each one of us, and I was like, I think I want to change my major to art. And she was like, yeah, I could tell you were not really into this. And she I'll never forget this. She goes, not that anyone was really into it, but you especially, I could tell were not into the material. And I was like, yeah.
Can we just move this along, please?
Let's move along. But to her credit, she was really excellent in helping me get to the art department.
Did you have any ideas of what you wanted to do with that degree?
No.
You just knew you
No.
wanted to.
Does any art student know what they want to do
Not
with an
really.
art degree?
Like, not unless you're going. I went to the Art Institute and studied video and film, and I came in there. I just want to make movie trailers. That's all I wanted.
Wow.
That's what I wanted to do.
That's very specific.
I really like editing. But I mean, I would imagine like fine art degree that's like a little more general than like a specialized, like going to the Art Institute and video and film. Like it's a little easier to pinpoint like where you want to be at in film as opposed to that. So so I just always wonder like what you fine arts majors think about like when you're going in there.
Honestly, like I was just thinking about completing the project for the class. I was not thinking long term, to my detriment. I mean, I took a very long and winding road to get to where I am. And like it's funny because sometimes I stop and think about how I have 2 degrees. I have a bachelor's and a master's, and I am working in a career that has absolutely nothing to do with either of them.
Amen, sister. What's your other degree in?
I went to Carnegie Mellon for I have my master's in entertainment technology.
What does that mean?
Fancy term for video games.
Really?
So, yeah, when I was in college, when I moved in with my boyfriend, he was super into video games. And up until that point, my only experience with video games was Super Mario Brothers on Nintendo, which I enjoyed, but like, you know, I grew up and stopped playing it. And then I saw him one day. I came home from work, I remember, and he was sitting on the couch and he was playing Final Fantasy 9.
Wow.
And I was just like, oh my God, is that what video games look like now? Because in my head, it was still like 8-bit, side-scrolling platformers. And I was just like, oh my God, this looks like a movie.
Right.
So then I would just like get in the habit of like sitting on the couch and watching him play for like hours.
And you wouldn't play? You wouldn't join it?
No. It was scary. So many buttons. So I would just sit and watch him play, and it was just like amazing to me. And then like to me, this became a whole new way of storytelling. Like movies always loved, TV always loved.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, here's a new way for me to enjoy a story that you in essence control.
Truth.
So I just like got super into video games, and
So you're a gamer.
I am now. Eventually, like near the end of my relationship with my high school boyfriend, I picked up a controller, and I was like,
Dun, dun, dun.
let me tell you why. Because there was a video game that I wanted him to play, because I wanted to know the story, and he's like, I don't want to play it. And then I was like, well, then I'm going to play it.
And the heavens opened up.
Yeah, I was like, I can do this. Me, I have hands.
What was the game?
Dark Cloud.
Not familiar. Is it like a sci-fi fantasy type thing?
Sort of. It's like a dungeon crawler RPG where there's this kid. He wakes up one morning and he finds his entire village is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out, this was like years ago, so I can't remember the story specifically, but I just remember it turns out something put pieces of his village into like bubbles and hid them in the dungeon. So you had to go into the dungeon and find the bubbles, then bring them back and open them and release pieces of your village piece by piece.
Huh.
But the cool part about it is you can rebuild the village to however you want.
Oh, really?
But also, you get bonus points if you do it to how the villagers want. So, like, the villagers also get trapped in bubbles, so you have to release them too. It's really fun.
What platform is this? Is this like PlayStation?
PlayStation 2? I want to say PlayStation 2.
Okay.
Yeah, PlayStation 2. But it was, like, really neat because I remember there's the one I released the house, and the villager was like, you know, I always wish that my bedroom window faced east so I could see the sunrise. And I'm like, I can do that. And I'm like, this is so cool.
So you know how to create video games?
Back in grad school 10 years ago.
I'm sure it's just like...
I don't
completely
even
a
know
whole-
what they're using now.
Yeah.
Like mental telepathy. I don't know. Like, this is what I want. Boom. But I took a couple game design classes, but what I really... because I was still delusional, I really wanted to be a video game artist.
Yeah.
So I took like 3D animating classes,
wow.
But I really focused on texture art, which to me felt like the natural progression of my fine art studies.
Okay.
Because I focused in undergrad, I focused on oil painting. That's what I love to do. And it's actually neat. For my senior thesis, I did like I put found objects onto my canvases to play with the transition from 2D to 3D art.
Oh, neat.
So it was extra interesting to me to like find myself in digital art,
Right.
creating 3D objects.
Nice.
But texture art specifically is like, do you know anything about creating
Like technically, like the like video games and all that stuff digitally?
like the art aspect of it? So let's take this Arizona iced tea bottle, for example. So you look at this and you see a brown bottle and then the green label with the flower on it.
Mm-hmm.
But because you see it on a screen, it's flat. All you see is one side at a time.
Right.
So what a texture artist does... and each item or model is made up of polygons.
Okay.
So I'm sure you've seen like wireframe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty much that.
Okay.
So what a texture artist does is it's called unwrapping. Is you take the 3D object and you flatten it. So you see all sides of the object on your screen.
Oh.
So say you take this bottle, it's as if I were to take this label and unwrap it and lay it flat so you could see all of it at once.
Okay.
I would do that to the entire object.
Oh, okay.
And then I would paint on that flat wireframe and then rewrap it.
Huh.
So then, like, if you were to look at this, you know, the file I would make was just like the label.
Right.
But then you look on the screen and it looks like that. So that's what I was trained to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. I don't think I've ever... Yeah, I haven't spoken to anybody that knows how to do that. And, like, I knew a couple kids when I was in school who that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I haven't spoken to anybody since that actually knows how to do that.
Well,
so that's really cool.
I did know how to do that.
Well, are you still a gamer? Or do you still get in there and play when you have time?
I love the concept of games.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching games. I watch my husband play games all the time. For me, I just am so tired all the time. And this is such a cop-out. It's such a cop-out. But, like, film work is hard work. And it's long hours. And it's tedious. So when I come home, I just, like, crash out. And for me, it's so much easier to be like, hey, Nick, do you want to play Destiny? And I'll watch. That would be cool.
That's adorable.
And he's just like, it was funny because when we first started dating, I'd like go over to his place and he'd be playing a game. And he'd like shut it down. And I'm like, no, you can keep playing. And he's like, no, I'm done. It took a long time before he realized, oh no, she actually like.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like I am not a gamer. Like I do like video games, and my husband, I don't think he ever touched a controller until we got married. Until we got together. And like I would play games, and I would try to like find 2-player games that maybe he would want to like play, but he was actually like, no, you can play that and I'll just watch. And I'm like, where's the fun in that? Like, why are you just going to sit here and watch me play this game?
Does he like talk at all or say anything to you while you're playing?
Not like things that are concerning the game. Like he may ask me like what I'm doing, what's going on, why is that happening, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Because I don't really get too deep into like the RPG, like the storytelling ones. Like the ones that I think the closest is probably Assassin's Creed is what I've gotten into for that. And like Hitman was the main one that I was just all about for the longest time. And then Grand Theft Auto. But
okay, all right.
But yeah, so like not too many like really story heavy games. So it wasn't like much for him to get into, but he would like really get into it. Like if I had a really great kill.
Yeah. See, I am a backseat gamer. So while he's playing, I'm always like, oh, look out! Or like, hide! Oh my God, no! There it is! Get that thing! And he's just like, he's such a patient man. He's so good. And there's only been a couple times where he's had to be like, Laura, please. Where like if I'm like flinching on the couch like too much and he's like, you're moving the couch, and I'm like, okay, sorry. And I was doing this thing that I had no idea I was doing, where we're both super into Destiny right now. And there's the PvP portion of it. It's called the Crucible, where you just run around and kill other people like online.
Okay.
And you die very often during this, just because everyone's just like sniping at each other. There's no objective. You're just shooting at each other.
Okay.
And it turned out that every time he would die, I would go, every time. And I didn't realize I was doing it until finally he was like, can you please stop doing that? You're making me feel like shit. And I was like, what? And he's like, you sound like disgusted every time that I die. And I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. I'm just like upset for you.
I am judging you right now on your video gaming abilities.
But that's not what that was. And I felt really bad. So like I had to like make a concerted effort to like keep my mouth closed and like, don't make noises. Don't make noises.
You are absolutely adorable. I can't even take it right now.
I'm glad you think so.
So you said you took like a windy road as to get to where you are.
Oh yeah.
What your career is now. So let's do it like this. Was On the Nose events before, or
before film?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So, after a particularly hard movie, one of my coworkers and dear friends rented a cabin out in Somerset and just invited a whole bunch of us to just come for... He rented it for a week and was like, come for as long as you want. You don't have to pay for food or drinks or anything. He wouldn't even take money to pay for the cabin. He had a jar on the kitchen table that was like, if you want to throw in some money, go ahead, and I'm going to donate it to the Gilda Radner house. Yeah. And we just like had a fantastic time and just like went hiking and just, I don't know, just be in nature. Because me personally, the nature of my work, I'm in an office for 12 to 14 hours a day.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to be outdoors and scream.
Walking children in nature. And my other dear friend, Greg, who is like my brother, my other brother, he's super into motorcycles, and he told me, if you want me to take you for a ride on a motorcycle, just bring like a jacket and some boots. I was like, all right. So I get there, and he's got this yellow Triumph trophy, and he takes me for a ride on it, and this was my first time on a motorcycle ever, and I'm like, this is the best experience of my entire life. This is amazing. I'm like, it feels like you're on a roller coaster, but like just for you, like your own personal roller coaster. And we just
Frightening.
It was so much fun. It's terrifying. So much, no. And we just went like through like country and these windy roads, and the weather was amazing. And we just were gone for like, I don't even know how long. We left when it was light. We came back, it was dark. Wow. It was great. And the first thing I said when I got off the motorcycle was, I have to get one of these.
Really?
Like, that's it. I'm like, this is amazing. That was in June or July. August, I signed up for a motorcycle class, which at the end of the class, you take your, like, riding test. Took the test, passed with flying colors, bought a motorcycle, like, couple weeks later.
Oh, wow.
So it was like boom, boom, boom.
You're a motorcycle mama.
I loved it. I loved it.
Not that I know what they are, but what type of motorcycle do you have? Not that I'll be able to imagine it, unless you say Harley.
It is not a Harley. Sorry. It's a Honda, but I actually like vintage Hondas. Because the new Hondas are so mainstream. That's not it at all. For your listeners, I am a tiny woman, 5'5", 100 pounds. Yeah. So I need a small motorcycle, and the most small motorcycles you're going to find are vintage.
Oh, okay.
It just worked out for me beneficially that I love the way they look and the way they ride and handle. Nice. So the first motorcycle that I bought was a 1969 Honda CB350, which it's a very nice looking Honda. It's like this dark teal and white.
Oh, pretty. Oh,
it's beautiful. It's got this really nice leather seat, and the handlebars, which are usually like kind of high, are a bit lower because the person I bought it off of was not going to cafe it out.
What does that mean?
Okay. So, back in the 60s, there was this group of motorcycle riders called rockers in England, and they would modify their motorcycles to go faster. So what they would do is they would move the foot pegs farther back and make the handlebars down lower. Okay. So it almost looks like you're lying down on the motorcycle to decrease drag so that they could go faster. And all of these riders would convene at the Ace Cafe in London. So they became known as cafe racers. Oh. So, and then the bikes also became known as cafe racers. So the previous owner didn't cafe it out, but it kind of had those bones. And I was like, I'm really into this, and I want a cafe racer, but I don't want to cafe this bike. So then I got another bike, which was a 72 Honda CL350, which I actually bought from my friend Greg. He built it. Oh, wow. And it's got, like, the great cafe seat, which is just, like, flat and then kind of, like, a curvy back. And no room for a second rider because you never take a second rider on a cafe racer. And the handlebars are low and the pegs are back, and it's just, it's so great. It's just like the best bike ever. I love it.
So you called them rockers?
Yes.
So is this where the Steel City mod versus rockers?
Exactly.
Please explain that name.
Okay. So back in the 60s, the rockers, you know, did their thing, wearing their leather jackets and their jeans, listening to Elvis Presley. There was the mods, who were also in England, who were like the very well-dressed, well-coiffed, well-to-do, like think Quadrophenia. and they were on scooters.
Okay.
And they used to have these like clashes in the street. Many people say that these
Socias
reports
versus greasers. I'm with you.
pretty much. Many people say that these reports were greatly exaggerated, that they weren't like these huge rumbles as they were like made out to be, but there were like 1 or 2 altercations.
Okay.
But it became this like mods versus rockers type of thing. And I don't remember when it started, but the first one I know was in Chicago. The very first mods versus rockers in the United States. And instead of obviously like a rumble, it became just a way for people to come together and, you know, pay homage to this time that created these great motorcycles and scooters.
Oh, cool.
And just kind of come together and like have a party and have a great time.
Neat.
And then they started popping up all over the country. And, you know, I had just gotten my motorcycle and I was like super into it, and I wanted to like look at everything. Not show it off. I wanted to look at everything. I wanted to see everything. And there were no events in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
And it was all just like so far away. And to me, because of my work schedule, I either didn't have time to go travel or just didn't want to because I was so tired all the time. Camille is so tired.
She's so tired. Right now, Laura is fighting to keep awake.
You can't see, but one of my eyes is actually closed. But yeah, so I was like, you know what? It's not fair. I want to do this, and I'm just going to do one in Pittsburgh. And I remember telling my boyfriend at the time, and he was like, that'll never work. And I'm like, oh, just
That's not your husband, is it?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No. So I was like, I'm going to do it. And then I went to work one day. I was working on a movie called I Am Number 4. And I
think that was the year that I got married.
Oh.
The year I met Timothy Oliphant.
Oh. Yes. But my friend Justin was working on that movie, and I worked in the art department and he worked in the production office. And I went into the office for something or other, and I remember I was waiting, so I was making small talk with Justin. I was like, hey, how's it going, how was your break? And he's like, good. And I'm like, how's your wife doing? And he's like, good, she's thinking about starting like an event planning company. And I was like, oh, tell her to call me. And he was like, what? And I'm like, no, there's this thing I want to do, and I would love some help, so please tell her to call me. And he was like, oh yeah, I totally will. Of course, no. So like I saw him a few more times, and I'm like, did you tell your wife to call me? Because I think maybe he thought I was just saying it,
right?
Like, oh yeah, tell her to call me. But I was like, no, I'm super serious, tell her to call me. So finally one day I get a Facebook message from her, and she was like, hey, Justin says you need help doing a party. And I was like, sort of. And she's like, all right, let's just meet. So we met for brunch, and like I had met her a handful of times before, like rap parties.
Gotcha.
And that was it. And I always thought she was very nice. And like, sorry, Nicole, I wasn't interested in making a friend. I wanted a business partner to help me do this, because I was like super serious about it.
Right.
So we met for brunch, and we had a very super serious business meeting. And at the end of it, it was just clear that like we seemed to get along well. We like whatever superficial work we did, we did it okay.
Right.
And she was like, okay, yeah, I'll help you do this. So we just dove right in.
Nice.
We just like did it. And throughout the process, as we communicated more and more together, we were just kind of like, oh, turns out I like you.
Isn't it great when that works out?
Oh my God, it's fantastic. And it was just, yeah, so we started, I don't remember, maybe it was like a year. Maybe it took us a year. We took like a full year, excuse me, to do the first one. And we did it, and it's funny because looking back on it, like there's so many things we did wrong and incorrectly, and just, oh my God, I don't want to talk about the first one. But at the time, it was like, we had like maybe 300 people show up.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, right?
That's
For the
amazing.
first time.
Yeah.
And
so obviously you were fulfilling a need.
yes, that's the thing. So many people showed up and they were like, I had no idea there were these many vintage bikes in Pittsburgh. And I was like, I did.
Yeah.
And now here you go.
Right.
And it was just great. It was just fantastic. And when that ended, when we were finished with that, I had an idea for a New Year's party that I wanted to throw. So I was like, do you want to do this again for a New Year's party? And she was like, sure. So then we threw this like speakeasy party at Shadow Lounge. Rest in peace, Shadow Lounge. Oh. It was really great. We were like, you have to come in appropriate attire. Absolutely no one in t-shirt and jeans will be admitted. We had like a burlesque dancer. We had a jazz singer. Cool. It was so great. It was so great. And that like went really well too. So we were like, we're really good at this. We should maybe start a company. And that's kind of just how it happened.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you just had a Steel City Mod versus Rocker.
Yes.
Like last month?
Last month, August 22nd.
How did that go?
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. We jumped around from location to location for the first 3 years. We were just trying to find our home.
Yeah.
And then Millville actually reached out to us.
Oh, excellent.
And they were like, hey, we know that, you've been doing this for a while, and I'm sure you have your ideas for what you want to do, but we would really love for you to come and at least consider Millville. And we were like, haha, they think we know what we're doing. But then we were like,
gotcha.
Millville? Really? Do we want to go to Millville? And then we're like, well, let's just go see what they have to say. And I think it was the first time either one of us actually went to Millville. And we were like, oh no, this is great. This is fantastic. Because like the whole section of street that they wanted to offer to us fit so well with what we were trying to do. Because they have like a candy store.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. And like this great bar that was like, yeah, bring everybody here. It was a very pleasant change from what previous year's experiences were, which were like, get your dirty criminal bikers away from my house. And it's like, you didn't even look. You don't even know. Like, do I look like a dirty criminal?
Right.
Like, come on, I'm a little girl.
I'm just a wee lass with a bike.
But yeah, no, this was our third year in Millvale, and because we were in the same spot, like people started to like expect us and know us, and Ewan McGregor was there.
I heard.
Oh my
God. Was that a swoon-worthy moment?
I almost melted into a puddle. I'm not even joking. And like, you would think me, like not to brag, but I meet actors and actresses all the time, and let me tell you, they're just people. No,
absolutely. Like I've been around. I've worked with a lot of different actors and stuff, and after a while, but there are certain ones that will get me.
I didn't even like
Timothy Oliphant.
I worked with him twice.
Oh my god!
I worked with him on I'm Number 4, and I did the pilot for Justified. Yeah.
For a split second, like we got married 2010 May 10th. We had like the brunch and everything for the family the day after at the Renaissance downtown. And I'm sitting there with my family. I don't have glasses on. And we're like in the little restaurant back there, and there's see the window. And I see this man walking towards there. And I'm like, is that Timothy Oliphant? Like his walk, like specifically, because I've been in love with this man since Go, since the movie Go. And he's walking. I'm like squinting, and like, and none of my family, like nobody knows who the hell I'm talking about, what is going on. And my mom's like, oh, I thought you just knew him from high school or something. And I'm looking, I'm like, that's Timothy Oliphant.
Did you go say anything?
I did. I went and talked to him, and I was like, he sat down for his little like yogurt and granola or whatever. And I'm like, excuse me. Yes, I really love your work, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to bother you, but if you get a chance, maybe, come take a picture. He's like, sure, I'll finish my breakfast and come over. I was like, okay. Left him to his breakfast, and we did our thing, and then he came over. He's like, are we taking a picture or what?
Oh
and
my god, that's so nice.
So yeah, so like there are certain celebrities I'm just like humming, sigh.
I mean, We are people after all.
Yes, exactly. And if Ryan Gosling walks anywhere, steps foot in Pittsburgh at all, game on.
I will let you know if I hear anything.
And that's how we will be friends. But yeah, it's super cool. Like, how many years have you guys been doing this
We just
total?
did our sixth.
This is the sixth
year.
one.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And you think you're gonna keep doing it? Yeah.
I think so.
I need to get out to one of these years. Like,
you don't even have to like motorcycles. It's just like it's such a fun like day out. Like,
yeah.
there's vendors and
Plus,
contests.
I love that whole like vintage, that whole like, you know, the throwback to like, you know, 50s, 40s, that kind of thing, 60s, you know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
I love the throwbacks. So,
Yeah.
you know, it would be cool. Like, I've been to a couple of like the car shows.
Yeah.
Just for scuzz, and mostly just because, like, you know, I like watching like pinup stuff and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
but yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
So what is your typical day like for your real job, for your...
Oh, okay. Well, this is what I like about my job is I don't have a typical day.
And is this only when there's a movie in town?
Yeah, a
Okay.
movie or a TV show, yeah.
Okay.
Like, currently I'm working on a TV show called Outsiders
Mhm.
for the WGN network. And it's about... it's about so many things. It's about...
It's like I know a couple of people that are working on that
yeah?
right now. Yeah, I know Cindy Jackson is not... I know people working on camera. I don't think I know anybody
okay.
behind the camera working
Gotcha.
on it, yeah.
But it's about a family of mountain people that live in the Appalachian Mountains in Kentucky that
Mhm.
have lived on the mountain for 200 years. So they're, you know, mountain people.
Mountain folk.
And then there's the city, or I shouldn't say city, the town
Mhm.
at the base of the mountain that want to mine the mountain for coal because they're broke. So they want to do this, you know,
Okay.
for jobs and money, whatever.
Is this present time?
Present time, yeah.
Okay.
So they want to kick the mountain people off, and it's just like, what will happen next?
Is that something that interests you? Is that story? Like, if you weren't working on it, if you had nothing to do with it, would you watch that?
Next question.
So, what was today like for you?
Well, today we're like it's a 13 episode order. You know what? Let me go back for a second.
Okay.
Because if I saw a commercial or if someone told me about it, I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna watch this show. Come on. But you know what? The scripts are actually pretty good. And
Yeah.
every time I read a script, I was like, this is actually pretty interesting.
Mm.
I haven't seen any of the filmed footage yet, so you know it could go either way. I really liked Those Who Kill when I read the script.
Yeah.
And then I made it through 2 episodes, and I'm like,
That's
oh,
the one
even
with Chloe.
Chloe Sevigny.
Yeah.
I was like, even I can't watch this, and I worked on this. I did like a lot on it.
Yeah, I didn't like
can't
that at
watch
all.
it.
So you a lot of what you do involves you reading the scripts first because you need to budget out X, Y, and Z, or what?
Well,
Or you just read the scripts just because you can?
yeah. Well, that and because, like, you know, I have to know what the thing being purchased is for what set, what episode, who's using it, that type of thing.
Okay.
I just need to know, like, what's going on, like, what the shoppers are buying for.
Do you physically go out and get stuff, or are you mostly just
no,
like...
I'm at my desk. And if anyone that is listening works in film, I'm going to tell you the thing that I hate the most that all of you do this. When I leave the office and go to set or even to, like, a different office, everyone's like, oh, who let you away from your desk? Who unchained you from your desk? I hate that so much.
Not
every
funny.
Every time.
And if you think you're the first one to say it, you're not.
Oh my god. It's just the worst. It's the worst. And I'm always like, like, I don't even, like, pretend that I think it's funny. Like, no. Don't do that.
Wow, people are ridiculous. Okay, so you don't have a typical day. Is that one of the things that you do enjoy about it is the fact that it's not
Absolutely.
humdrum, same old,
Absolutely.
same old?
Absolutely. Like, the story that I love telling is there was the one time I was working on a movie and I got a package delivery. And a lot of times the things are whatever we order are addressed to me because I'm always at the office, so I'm always there to receive them. So I'm opening up packages, and I open this one box, and oh, look, a severed head.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't order this. Who ordered this? And it turned out it was a mistake.
Oh, geez.
And I had to send seven severed heads. I had to send them back.
Seven.
Holy
cats. It's like, yes, I'm calling about the severed heads that I just received.
Why? What did I do to you? Is this a message?
Right. What have I done to anger someone? I'm sorry. You're not being chained to my desk. That was a funny joke. I didn't mean it. So how much do you get much time in between projects? Because I mean, as of late, it just seems like there's always something filming here.
It really depends. We have the tax incentive, which has to get renewed every year with every budget. And that happens in June, end of June, early July. And so far, it's always been renewed. Sometimes it was a little pushed. Right now, they haven't passed a budget. We don't have a state budget.
Oh.
So that means we don't have a tax incentive. So as of right now, when I'm done with this show next month, there's nothing else coming.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of politicians wrongly assume, people will come and film here anyway.
Right.
It's like, no, they won't. No, they won't. We're great, and we have a great crew, and we're professional, and we know what we're doing. But we'll always get Pittsburgh.
Right.
Like, why would we film in Pittsburgh?
Truth.
Tax incentive. That's why.
Right, exactly.
So, I'm expecting some time off, which I've actually been working for about 1.5 years straight.
Oh, man.
So I'm not opposed to having some time off.
I'm sure. And, especially with the holidays and winter, it's a nice time to have off.
Working in winter in Pittsburgh is just so depressing because you wake up and it's dark and you come home and it's dark.
Yeah, it's awful. I really do. That's the only time I really start hating on Pittsburgh is the winter.
Yes.
Because there's no sun. It's just gross.
It's
all
sad.
the time cold. And
it's sad.
I just want to wrap up. It's like, I will. And usually that's when all my personal projects kind of stop. So where I was like, all right, so I'm going to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. That's it. And I'm coming home. I will see you guys in February for my birthday. And then I'll come back.
Bye.
It's been nice. And which is cool because, like, for my job, we get, like, 2 weeks off at Christmas kind of thing.
Oh,
so,
that's nice.
Yeah, because technically we're a school, but...
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to winter, but not. I'm looking forward to the downtime.
Yeah.
Catching up on, shows and stuff.
Yeah.
So what are one of your favorite films that you worked on here?
Dark Knight Rises.
I'll bet.
That was like my childhood dream come true.
Oh.
Like, I always loved Batman. Always.
Yeah.
Ever since I was little. Always. And I remember I was working on another comic book movie. It wasn't a movie. It was a pilot for Lock and Key. And I thought that was fantastic because I'm a fan of that comic.
Okay.
And I met Joe Hill, and I had him sign my issue number 1. And I was like, hey, this is great. And then my friends Chris and Greg, the one who rented the cabin and introduced me to motorcycles, they came to visit me, and they always joke that they are going to come visit me at work and get me fired. And they've actually come close once or twice, so you guys are jerks. So they came to visit me, and I remember Chris was like, you'll never guess what's coming to Pittsburgh. And I'm like, what? And he goes, Batman. And I literally went like this. Nope. I'm going to rein it in right now because this is a huge movie, and they're going to bring in everyone from LA. They're not coming to Pittsburgh because there's a tax credit. They're coming here because they want to film here. So I'm going to...
It looks like Gotham.
I'm going to temper all of my emotions right now and just resign myself to the fact that I am not working on this movie. Maybe a friend of mine will show me a picture or two, and that's it. And then, fast forward months later, I'm working on the very unfortunate movie Won't Back Down with Viola Davis and Maggie Gyllenhaal. Unfortunate, I think, is the only term used. Anyway, so I was working on that, and all of a sudden I get an email from an art director that I had worked with previously on My Bloody Valentine.
Which is kind of fun movie.
It was fun. I don't even like horror movies.
Oh, really?
But I was like, this is great. I was laughing through the whole thing. It was fantastic. And it was like the first 3D movie that came out.
Right.
It was great. But he emailed me and he was like, hey, Laura, I'm in town and I'm working on Batman. Do you want to come work for me? And I was like, no, I'm already working. And I like had this real close relationship with my boss at the time. And I was like, I can't do that to her. She needs me here. I don't want to leave. So I was like, thank you so much, but I can't leave. Here's the name of someone else that I think could do a good job for you. And he emailed me back and he said, Laura, call me. And I was like, ugh. So I called him and he's like, Laura, I don't know what you're working on, but this is Batman. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So I went to my boss.
My boss will understand.
Well, she was so cool about it. I went to her and I was like, listen, I got a call to go work on Batman. And she was like, oh, well, you have to do it. And I was like, oh, thank you.
Oh, my God.
And I went and it was just, I got to see everything. Like the production designer took me on a tour, a personal tour of all of the sets and explained everything to me. Oh, my God. I saw all of the props. I got to like peek inside the tumbler and it was just like, I'm like, you can't see me, but my arms are like waving above my head. I was like, not even a kid in a candy store, like a kid on a sugar rush running through an amusement park. I was just like,
oh my God.
It was just like the best.
What about the Batmobile? Did you?
So here's the thing. I did. I was like peeking in the windows. But here's the thing. So at the end of my time in Pittsburgh, I had, was speaking with the art director, just personal conversations, whatever, because this was now our second project together. And I had told him about, I know, in one of my conditions of me leaving my job to go work for him, I was like, hey, I do this motorcycle rally, so I need some time off to go do this rally. And he was like, oh, yeah. So we talked about motorcycles. So one day he calls me up from out of the office, and he calls my cell phone, which was weird because he always called the office phone. He's like, Laura, I'm going to say something to you, and you cannot react. Don't make any noise. But I need you to come to the studio set, and we're going to have a photo shoot of you on the bat cycle. Oh my God. And I was just sitting there, and like my assistant was sitting next to me, and I was just like, okay. Okay. And he was like, so wait about half an hour and then come meet me at the stage. And I was like, okay. So I hung up, and then I was like, Zach wants me to meet him at the stage, so I will be back later. And she was like, okay. So I left, and I got in my car, and then I was just like, and then he like did like a half-hour photo shoot of me on the bat cycle. That's awesome. And that was like, he gave me a CD of all the pictures, and I'm like, this is the best. But then like on his last day, this is embarrassing. He went to a local print shop and took like 3 or 4 of the photos and had them printed like giant 24 by 36 glossy. And he was like, here, I did this for you. And I was like, great. This is great. And like, I think he thought I was going to like lose my mind, but like, what am I going to hang that up in my house? Like,
so it's hanging above my bed.
I actually don't even know where they are. I have them. I absolutely have them. But what am I going to do with them,
like,
really?
It's kind of embarrassing to have that big of a photo.
It was huge.
Yourself. But I mean, you are on the bat cycle.
Oh, I know.
I think it would be forgiven.
I think that's what my friends told me. They were like, where is this picture? And I'm like, I'm not hanging that up. And they're like, why not? Come on.
I would get a shirt made with that picture on it. And just
Maybe that's what I'll do. A shirt will be fine, but like someone walking into my house and just seeing a picture of me, I don't know. No, but here's the worst part. So he went to the print shop that I use on like every project that I work on. And I'm like friends with these people. And the next time I went into the print shop, they were like, hey, Laura, nice picture. And I'm like, oh my God. But it is a nice picture, isn't it?
It is. Thanks.
But that was like so many dreams come true. So many.
It seems like you really enjoy your job, and I am, for one, like, even though you deal with numbers and spreadsheets and stuff, I am absolutely jealous of your position.
You know, it's so like not glamorous though. Like what I just described is so rare.
It's not even like a glamorous thing. It's just more like, I mean, it's great, and that's one of the things that I love about working in film and video to begin with, is that you get to peek behind the curtain.
That's
and like
true.
literally, and it's nice to see like all the, for me, I enjoy seeing all the moving parts that work to go to do it. And it's not even just, you know, the actors, it's more like the cameraman and the, you know, directors and the folks in the production office, and, you know, everybody, that there are so many moving parts.
So many. Yeah.
And it's just, sometimes it's difficult for most people to wrap your brain around the fact that it's like, oh, it's not just these guys with a camera, you know, doing stuff. But it's just like, it's really neat to just be there and see all of that stuff happen.
It's funny because, you know, you watch a movie and you watch the credits, or don't, because I get it.
Unless there's like a Easter egg at
exactly. But you watch the credits and you're like, why are there so many people? What are they all doing? And then you're in it and you're like, oh, we need more people.
Right.
Like, we need more people.
Yeah, exactly. What is the legacy that you would like to leave behind?
Like, in general?
In
or
general.
For film?
Just in general, in your life. People say that, Laura, she's sure.
Oh, man. That is a tough question. I never thought about it before. She sure made everyone have a good time.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
Yeah. Everyone liked being around Laura.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when you finally do get some off time, what is your form of self-care? Like, how do you take care of Laura?
I am going to get a facial,
Nice.
a massage, mani-pedi.
Love it.
Which is probably the girliest thing I'll ever admit. But then I'm going to... This will be during my 1 week to 2 weeks. I haven't decided yet. It's always different after every project. I always take at least 1 to 2 weeks to do absolutely nothing.
Nice.
I don't even change out of my pajamas.
Oh, God bless you.
No, my husband thinks it's gross. He's right. He's right. It's gross. But, like, I need to just, like... sit on the couch and watch Maury for a while. I just need to, like, not think about stuff, not schedule anything, not plan anything, and just, like,
recharge.
Recharge. Just, like, sleep for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And then take a nap.
Wake up, go to the bathroom, and take a nap.
For, like, and I give myself a deadline because, unfortunately, that could progress into 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So then I give myself a deadline, and then I'm like, all right, now I'm going to, I don't know.
Do something.
Do something.
Yeah. That's fine. You don't need to explain yourself to me.
I feel like I do.
But I just appreciate the 2 weeks of doing nothing, because those are things that I look forward to as well.
Okay, good. Good.
What haven't you done yet that you would like to do?
So many things. I love to travel. And there's just so much of the world I haven't seen yet. So I just want to go everywhere.
Have you been to Russia yet?
I haven't because, well, for whatever reason, circumstance, I always just ended up other places first. And then my parents actually went back to Russia while I was in grad school. And I was very upset because they called me and they're like, Laura, we're going on a trip. We're going to Russia. Can you come home and watch the cat? Oh. And I was like, are you kidding me? You didn't ask me if I wanted to go? Because they used to ask me all the time, oh, we're going to this place. We're going to this place. Do you want to go? And I'm like, no, I don't want to go with my parents somewhere. They're going to be in bed by 9. And I want to go out and see them. And I was just like, this is the one place that I would be like, yes, absolutely.
Right, and
like,
go with your parents.
With native people show me around. And they were like, nope, just come home and watch the cat. And I'm like, fine. And then finally, when, like, I got it together, all the stuff started happening. Yeah. Where it's just like, they hate gay people, and now there's war. And I'm like, I don't want to go there right now.
Yeah, you might give it another 10 years, I guess. Maybe.
I mean, there's,
things will die down or...
I'll get there eventually, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel that need anymore. Because I absolutely did want to.
Right.
And I still want to, but not the way it is now.
Yeah.
I just don't feel right.
No, I don't think you would have that. I mean, it's not a way that you want to see, like, where your roots are from.
Yeah.
That's just
Absolutely.
not... It wouldn't be good.
No.
So we are going to take a quick break,
Okay.
and then we're going to come back with your top 5.
Okay.
Okay, now it's time for your top 5.
Okay.
I've also prepared a list.
Excellent.
So you read yours first, and then I'll read mine.
Okay. I want you to know that I thought really carefully about this.
Oh, and what I gave Laura was the top 5 superpowers she would like to have.
I got to 4, and then I stalled.
So did I.
Oh my god. And then I went home and I talked to Nick about it, and he started naming all of these things where I was like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. And then finally I came up with 5, and I was like, all right, good. So number 1 is teleportation. Because I want to see everything.
Right.
Like, I just want to, like, boom, I'm in Prague. Boom, I'm in Vienna. And then, like, oh, I have to be at work in 10 minutes. Boom. Like, I just...
It's smart. It's a smart choice.
My next one is telekinesis.
Mm.
And I don't want telepathy. I do not want to read people's minds.
I feel like that's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Because, as RuPaul famously said, what other people think of me is none of my business.
Amen.
And I'm pretty sure someone said it before RuPaul, but she's the last person that I remember.
She said it much sassier.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
The telekinesis, move anything.
Right.
Like, I want soda, and I'm on my 2 weeks of doing nothing. So I said soda. I don't drink soda, ever. I've never drank soda.
Or do you drink pop?
No,
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 you don't
no.
drink. You don't
no,
drink carbonated
I don't
beverages.
drink anything carbonated.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't believe I said soda. Why did I do that?
That's...
I just want you to like me.
It's okay. You don't have to drink soda.
Okay, thank you.
I'm actually trying to get away from soda. Like pop is what I call it.
Uh-huh.
The only pop I drink is ginger ale, and I've just kind of been more towards. I just like bought like a shit ton of carbonated water, just like a sparkling water, just so it's like you
LaCroix.
have that.
Is it LaCroix?
No.
Oh.
Is it? No, it's not. But yeah, just to get that, effervescent feel and not have all the sweetener.
Oh.
As you were.
Okay. Flight, because duh. I mean, who wouldn't want to fly? Like, that's just amazing.
It is. I thought about that. I did not put it on my list because I think I would be terrified.
See, to me, I think it goes back to the motorcycles, because when I'm on a motorcycle,
You
not
feel
that
like you're flying?
Not really, because you're just sitting there, but just like feeling the wind in your face and moving at high speeds and not having like the barrier of a car around you.
Terrifying.
Oh. It's so fun. It's so, I don't know, freeing. I don't know. That sounds cliche, but I mean, that's really how it feels.
God bless you. I mean, more power to you, sister. Put the power fist up for you.
Nice.
You can have it.
Cool. I will take it. Okay. Number 4. You're going to laugh at me. I want to be able to talk to animals.
Oh, that's a good one.
Isn't it?
Oh, I'm totally stealing that one because I left 5 blank.
Because then I could be like, Steven, I have to give you this medicine you hate, and I'm so sorry. And then he'll be like, Mommy, I understand.
Right.
And I won't drool all over the floor.
Be able to reason with that. Because
Yes.
I try that now, and
it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It's like, why am I trying to reason with this dog?
But then Steve, my cat, Steve, my black cat, is just one of those that's just like, meow, 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 meow. And I'm like, what do you want? I'm standing right here. What do you want? And really, he just wants me to sit on the couch so he can sit on my lap.
That's what Professor does. He wants, and he wants both of us. Dan and I are both home. He wants us both on the couch because he wants a middle. Oh. And then he's happy.
Steve vacillates between my lap, then his lap, then my lap, then his lap. Never ending. So like, all right, that's cool. Whatever. Okay, number 5. Time travel.
Mm.
Because I don't know. Why not? And you know what? Like, I thought about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably would go back to certain points in history. Mainly, I think, to concerts.
Yeah,
Like
that's
Queen.
yeah.
I would love to see Queen in concert.
That would be really
or
cool.
Nirvana. But mainly to go forward.
Oh, yeah.
I just have this utter fascination with what the future is going to be like.
Yeah, I agree. Like I thought about time travel, but I figured forward would be the only time that I would go.
Yeah.
But backwards, things didn't work out so well for us black folk. So
What do you mean?
So I decided, nah, I'm not gonna put that one on there. But that's true. Like the very specific places, like a nice, like a cool concert.
Yeah.
Like I would have loved to have seen Nirvana in concert.
Yeah.
Or I would love to have seen Duran Duran in the '80s in concert. Like
Yes,
I've seen them like recently, but like in the '80s, that would have been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you just think about like how much has advanced just from the time when we were born to now.
Right.
Like, we remember when the internet first started.
Right.
And now I have the internet in my hand
I know.
whenever I want it.
Now there's like a generation of kids that don't know life without the internet.
Nope. That just made my mind explode. I don't even want to think about that.
Dude, there was like, I was a teaching artist for MGR for a couple months, and I was teaching photography to different like grades, levels left from 3rd through high school. And it was like different ones. And like it started at high school, and then by the time like the month the project was over, I was by the third graders. I think I got into 6th grade to where the kids didn't know what film was.
What?
They didn't know what a negative was.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I was like just going through my spiel and then the negative and blah blah blah, and they're like, what's a negative?
There are certain things that I think about that like people don't know why a floppy disk is a save icon.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? I'm reminded, did you watch The Simpsons? Or did you watch The Simpsons?
Yeah, I did.
Do you remember that one episode where it was like a flashback and Homer was in high school and his dad was like, I used to be with it, and then what it was changed, and now I don't, what it is scary and intimidating to me. Oh. It happened to me, it'll happen to you. And that's always what I think of. I'm like, it's happening to me.
Yeah, it is. And I don't like it.
No.
I don't like it one damn bit.
Time travel.
True that. All right, speaking of Nirvana, did you see that Soaked in Bleach documentary?
I did not. I saw Montage of Heck.
That one was like dark. It's kind of scary. Montage of Heck.
It made me kind of not like Kurt Cobain.
I was a little bit terrified by the whole, like, I was never like Kurt Cobain, because when he died, I didn't even know who he was. But you know, after the fact, I do enjoy Nirvana, and I'm interested. I love documentaries anyway. But yeah, that Montage of Heck was really dark. But then like this Soaked in Bleach, which is streaming on Amazon for free right now.
Oh, okay. I will watch it.
Yeah, it was really good. Like I love what the way that they're doing documentaries nowadays. It's just more of a dramatic retelling and not like a cheese ball, like, you know, back in our day, the dramatization of what happened. But you know, I would highly suggest it. It's a really good watch.
On my list officially.
All right, to my top 5. Teleportation was number 1.
Excellent.
Because that was exactly the reason. Travel.
Yeah.
Number 2 was mind control. I don't want to read minds, but I would like to be able to be a little more persuasive about things, because then it'd be much easier. My reasoning would be it's much easier to get really good deals on things, price wise, being led into places you're not supposed to be.
That's all that you would do?
And being led into places you're not supposed to be. That's the first step. I'm sure I'd travel. I'd spread out to a little more real thing. But let's be serious. Let's be for real.
Okay.
It's gonna be selfish first.
Oh yes, of course. I mean, all of these are selfish.
And then we'll spread out to, like, you know, making the world a better place.
You don't even have to do that. But like, I don't know. It's like, I want to control people's minds so I could get 10% off.
10%. Girl. This dollar I'm handing you is really a check for X amount of dollars for that car.
Yeah.
For this house. Like, yes, that's just, yeah. Okay. I don't think this has a specific term, but the power to make anything taste like cupcakes to me.
But like, what flavor cupcakes?
Specifically, it would be the caramel vanilla cupcakes from Vanilla.
Okay. Now, why? Why?
Because there are times where, and I'm not like, this health nut, but there are times when I'm eating things that I don't really want to, or I'm just lazy as hell and it's like, oh, I'd really love a vanilla cupcake right now, but they cost a lot, or I don't want to go drive over there.
Yeah.
They're closed now. It's like, hey, look, this stalk of celery.
That's actually
Delicious.
a really good idea. That's a good idea. See, that didn't immediately register for me because I eat garbage all the time. I just eat trash. So I'm like, why not just eat cupcakes?
It's like, why not just have the cupcakes? I don't understand. I don't understand what to do. That just seems silly and wasted effort. Number 4, to learn anything in minutes.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I like learning, but sometimes it just don't stick.
Yeah.
So it'd be a really great thing, and
That's a good one.
you do a lot of things. And then number 5
is my number 6.
Nice. And number 5, I'm stealing because I had it blank. I'm stealing your talk to animals.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Because yes.
That's awesome.
Because that would just be amazing. I think I would probably take that over everything else.
I would too. Absolutely.
Much more useful. Okay. So now I'm going to ask you a random question out of this 4,000 questions for getting to know anyone and everyone.
Okay. Oh, I'm nervous.
Okay. What lesson of love took you the longest to learn?
Oh. I know exactly what it is. I just need a second to articulate it.
Okay.
To have high standards. To have high standards, absolutely, because I'm worth it.
Yeah.
And to not settle because I think I won't do better.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best pieces of advice that was ever given to me dating-wise was after my last boyfriend and I broke up, the one before my now husband.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were going to get married. And then it turned out he was a liar and had lied to me throughout the entire relationship.
Oh, my God.
Ugh. And my good friend Laura, who actually officiated my wedding.
Oh, cool.
She said to me, she's like spiritual and new agey, which I'm not really, but I appreciate it.
Right.
Like I can take what she says and like internalize it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, always ask the universe for exactly what you want because that's what it will give you.
Right.
And I was like, you're
Light bulb.
absolutely right. So I actually sat down and I wrote a list of like all the things that my future boyfriends would have to fulfill.
Nice.
And it wasn't like, must be dreamy
Right.
or like, must like comic book movies. It was like, must continue to try to better himself and thus push me to better myself.
Nice.
Like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, a month and a half later, I met Nick, and throughout the relationship, I told him this, so it's not like a secret. Throughout the relationship, I would like go back to my list, and I'd be like, is he doing this? Is he doing this? And he did, and he
Nice.
like hit. There were only like 5 or 6 things on the list. It wasn't a long list, and he hit all of them. And I like thought about it, and he was the first person I ever dated that hit all of them.
Oh,
and I was like, well, no wonder I'm like stupidly in love with him. So yeah, it's just that I was worth it, and to have high standards. Yeah, high standards.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great one. And how long have you guys been together?
Let's see. We've been married for 1.5 years, so we've been together 3.5 years.
Oh.
Not super long, but long enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, this is the end of our time.
Okay.
I hope it was okay for you.
Yes. Yes. I feel very good about what happened.
Excellent. I do too, because I had a blast and
Good.
I enjoyed very much talking to you.
Likewise.
Is there anything online or any projects or any events that you would like to direct folks to, or you want to shout out, or?
Outsiders on the WGN network premiering this fall.
Nice. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at @the_ruggedangel and check out ruggedangel.com for any back episodes of the podcast and all that. And thank you guys for listening, and thank you, Laura, for spending some time with me.
Thank you for having me.